Hello friends, and welcome to today's spooky video. Today we are talking about the infamous Mothman. I've heard a lot of people talk about him, so I figured I would do a deep dive. So who or what is the Mothman? According to legend, Mothman is described as a bipedal, winged humanoid. Bipedal means two legs for walking. It's okay, I didn't know what it meant either. Despite his name, which was given to him by newspapers, he is in no way moth-like and has an appearance more like that of a large humanoid owl. His coloration varies from brown, gray, to even that of black, although it's usually the darker shades. He is often reported to be anywhere from 7 to 10 feet tall, with a wingspan of about 10 to 15 feet or more, plus the ability to fly over 100 miles per hour. Sometimes he is described as not having a head, instead, but having two red eyes set in its chest. So like this. The eyes are reported to be glowing, or at least reflective. The details of its face and feet have never accurately been described. One witness who saw the face clearly could only say that the details were horrible and monstrous. She had terrible nightmares and nearly suffered a nervous breakdown. Anyone who gets a close look at the Mothman seems to suffer from extreme fear and psychological distress, sometimes lasting for months or even years afterwards. In particular, people say a sense of pure evil comes over them when they see the Mothman's eyes. He can fold his wings and walk with a weird shuffle that many witnesses have compared to that of a penguin. You know how penguins... Okay, you know what I mean. When he flies, he unfolds his wings and shoots up with great speed, then levels out to wherever he wants to go. He is rarely observed flapping his wings, except for on takeoff. Witnesses often describe his flight pattern as straight up like a helicopter. He can fly much faster than any bird should be able to fly, as measured by victims who suffered from what seems to be Mothman's favorite activity, chasing cars. He'll fly in front of them and sometimes even hit the roof of the car. That is. The notorious Mothman rose to fame as he terrorized the city of Point Pleasant, West Virginia from November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. The first newspaper report was published in the Point Pleasant Register, dated November 16th, 1966, titled, "Couple Sees Man-Sized Bird, Creature, Something." The national press soon picked up the reports and helped spread the story across the United States. So let's dive in, shall we? The creature was sighted in many places across West Virginia and the surrounding states, but the largest number of sightings happened near the old West Virginia Ordnance Works, an area now known by locals as the TNT area. West Virginia Ordnance Works is an abandoned munitions plant to the north of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, that dates all the way back to World War II. The facility, during its operations, manufactured ammunition and dynamite. The surrounding area is mostly forest, dotted with numerous grassy clearings, and thick concrete domes called igloos that were used to store barrels of gunpowder. The area is also riddled with abandoned tunnels, most of which have collapsed, been sealed off, or have become flooded with water. A wildlife sanctuary, McClintock Wildlife Management, now encompasses the area. In 1979, fishermen in the TNT area reported that chemicals had been left to seep into the ponds, causing it to be labeled as an environmental disaster. By 1983, the TNT area was among the country's most polluted sites. It was here, in the TNT area, on the cold night of November 15th, 1966, that two young couples would encounter this bizarre creature. The two young couples from Point Pleasant, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Stephen Mary Millette, were driving together on State Route 62 when they saw a menacing figure standing 6 to 7 feet tall. In the headlights, giant eyes shone bright red. Panic set in. Roger, the car's driver, sped away towards town, but the creature followed. According to these first eyewitness accounts, the thing rose up like a helicopter. Though a clumsy runner, it excelled in gliding, easily keeping pace, even as the car reached 100 miles per hour. The couples told police they saw a large gray creature whose eyes glowed red when the car's headlights picked it up. They described it as a large flying man with 10-foot wings. During the next few days, other people reported similar sightings. Two volunteer firemen who saw it said it was a large bird with red eyes. Mason County Sheriff George Johnson commented that he believed the sightings were due to an unusually large heron he termed a shite poke. Contractor Newell Partridge told Johnson that when he aimed a flashlight at the creature in a nearby field, its eyes glowed like bicycle reflectors. Additionally, he blamed buzzing noises from his television and the disappearance of his German Shepherd on the creature. Wildlife biologist Robert L. Smith at West Virginia University told reporters that descriptions and sightings all fit the sandhill crane, a large American crane almost as tall as a man, with a 7-foot wingspan featuring circles of reddish coloring around the eyes. The bird may have wandered out of its normal migrational route and was therefore unrecognized at first because it's not native to this region. The creature's debut ruffled the town's feathers, to say the least, and the stereotypical inclination for a small town to form an angry mob heightened. Rather than raising pitchforks and torches, for several nights, curious townspeople made hunting rifles their preferred weapon. Due to the popularity of the Batman series at the time, the fictional superhero Batman and its villains were frequently seen in the public eye. While the killer moth did not appear in this show, the comic book influence of both him and Batman is believed to have some influence on the coinage of the name Mothman. Now, Mothman was feared by the community for a very long time, but here is where he takes the blame. On December 15th, 1967, during rush hour traffic, the Silver Bridge collapsed and caused the death of 46 people, 2 of which were never found. The Silver Bridge was an I-bar chain suspension bridge, built in 1928 and named for the color of its aluminum paint. The bridge carried U.S. Route 35 over the Ohio River, connecting Point Pleasant, West Virginia and Gallipolis, Ohio. Investigation of the wreckage pointed to the cause of the collapse being the failure of a single I-bar and the suspension chain. Due to the small defect of 0.1 inches or 2.5 millimeters deep, analysis showed that the bridge was carrying much heavier loads than it had originally been designed for and had been poorly maintained. The collapsed bridge was replaced by the Silver Memorial Bridge, which was completed in 1969. The incident gave rise to the legend and connected the Mothman sightings to the bridge collapse. The creature terrorized the town for 13 months, and it is believed that there was over 100 sightings, though these are unidentifiable reports, and the actual number of reported sightings may be quite lower. Mothman witnesses were also harassed by the men in black who wanted them not to speak about the creature. All of these strange sightings seemed to reach a peak when the Silver Bridge collapsed. Now, we all know the Men in Black movie starring Will Smith. Okay, like we've heard them, they've been around for a minute. Basically, it's these men who are in black and they keep very hush-hush UFO sightings, alien encounters, all that jazz. Well, apparently these men came to Point Pleasant, West Virginia and was telling these people like, maybe you shouldn't tell anyone about the Mothman. Like, what do you mean I shouldn't tell people? Like, I don't understand. Maybe these Men in Black are real. Maybe Men in Black the movie with Will Smith is actually a documentary. I know that's how some people think about The Matrix. I am not promoting conspiracies. I'm just talking about it for fun. Okay. Many similar cryptids and creatures have been seen worldwide. The sightings are similar to Mothman in many ways, including the fact that most of them seem to be heralds of impending disasters. Some of the places that Mothman or its fellows have visited include a mine in Freiburg, Germany, where a moth-like creature scared miners away shortly before a collapse. Another notable visit was the nuclear plant at Chernobyl, where a creature haunted the facilities before the famous nuclear meltdown. There were also 2 Mothman pictures taken in New York on 9/11, and multiple sightings before the Minnesota bridge collapse. Some believe that Mothman tries to warn people about disasters about to happen, such as the Silver Bridge collapse. However, since there only seems to be one Mothman instead of a bunch of his kind, and since he seems to be rather paranormal, these sightings are not much of interest to cryptozoologists who want to discover new kinds of creatures. Mothman continues to be sighted to this day all over the world. And if you are brave enough to want to get a closer look, you can go to the Mothman Museum located at 400 Main Street, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Here, you can see the largest collection of props and memorabilia from the movie The Mothman Prophecies, read rare historical documents from the Mothman eyewitnesses themselves, documenting what they experienced that night on November 15th, 1966, and see rare historical press clippings and photos of the Silver Bridge disaster. Jeff Walmsley, a Point Pleasant native who grew up listening to the stories, opened the Mothman Museum. Jeff states, "I think the Mothman story is timeless. It's never been fully solved or proven as to what these people were seeing. People come here to see for themselves and to investigate on their own, to make up their own minds. Everyone has their own theory. It's part of the town's history." Point Pleasant has become a prime destination for dark tourism. As many locals tell it, the story of Mothman goes beyond the alleged sightings, spilling into mentions of Men in Black, extraterrestrial life forms, and conspiracy theories. Tourists are offered the chance to solve the mystery of the abnormal being and take home special Mothman memorabilia, crafts, and pastries from the museums, shops, and cafes from Point Pleasant's downtown district. Point Pleasant held its first Mothman Festival in 2002. The Mothman Festival began after brainstorming ways for people to come and visit Point Pleasant. The group organizing the event chose the Mothman to be the center focus of the event due to its uniqueness and as a way to celebrate its local legacy in the town. According to the event organizer Jeff Walmsley, the man who opened the Mothman Museum, the average attendance for the Mothman Festival is anywhere from 10 to 12,000 people. A 12-foot tall metallic statue of the creature, created by artist and sculptor Bob Roach, was unveiled in 2003. The festival is held on the third weekend of every September, hosting guest speakers, vendor exhibits, pancake eating contests, and hayride tours of locally notable areas. Whether or not you believe in the Mothman, it's the center of a small town's rich history. I would love to go there one day. Like, what? Are you joking? I'm also from Virginia, if you didn't know. This is in West Virginia, but like I could go home, I could see my family, and then we could go to the Mothman Festival. Like, it sounds awesome. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below what you would like me to do next. I do true crime, ghost stories, folklore, cryptids, all kinds of spooky stuff, you name it. I'll be back here next week with more spooky content. Until then, stay weird, my friends. Bye.